When we talk about healing the spiritual body, we're looking at the non physical, your metaphysical body, which is your energy body. Some teachings call this your auric field or the different auric bodies. Some look at the different planes. But ultimately, this is your entire essence as an energetic system. So, I've done some research on chakras. I'm just now reading this book. I've read this book, which is just so beautiful, and how you can channel your energies through your chakras, get out of this fear state, which is really what blocks your chakras. Get out of the fear state so that you can show your power in each one of the centers by cultivating, anchoring it within yourself, but then sharing it with the world. So, this is a great book, but also this one was my first book that I've read, and this is the book that I want to base this video off because I want to get into the importance of the developmental stages through your chakra system. This was the first chakra book that I ever picked up. I was in Las Vegas at the time. My partner was passing away. It was a bit of a volcanic experience for me, and I went to the bookstore, I found this, and I sat with it. Quite literally, I sat with a book. I didn't understand anything at the time, but I just wanted to kind of get my mind off the experience that was happening. So, just ever so lightly did I really long for this Eastern warmth that could teach me throughout the rest of the next 4 years, what it meant to look inward. The Eastern teachings on the chakra system really emphasizes the importance of meditation, rigorous work, and focus with the body on dismantling the different energies and kind of manipulating certain energies to imbue yourself along your spinal column and throughout your whole body with what is called prana, which is a life force energy. We all have this. But what I'd like to do is look at how we can channel this prana and work on different developmental stages. And we will do this through the chakra system. So, to begin this video, what are chakras? According to the Eastern teachings, chakras are wheels or discs, and these are full of a certain color, energy, and sound. And within each one of these, it has a very specific, I'll say, character that induces you into a certain state. So, if we look at the chakra system right now, we see that there are 7 main chakras. The first 3 are known as the survival. You have the middle one, which is based around the chest area. This will be the opening, the flowering of possibilities. And then we move up to the last 3, which is your throat, your eye, and your crown. And these are more of the spiritual planes. So when you look at the bottom 3, we're looking at your survival and really the way that you've developed your security, the way that you are able to emotionally express yourself, your ego and your ego development. It's all based in the bottom 3. And the way that you have developed thus far will actually be a kind of a foundation for the top 3 levels. Now, your heart in the center of that is really the filter through which will open you up to receive more, I'll just say, spiritual enlightenment or energies. But the top 3 really rely on your bottom ones to, their refinement is dependent upon these lower 3 chakras. So it's so important that we do go back to these lower chakras and continue to work with them and develop them. Now, there are 2 strategies that I want to give to you, and the ways that we can work with these, the development of your chakras, how to clear and cleanse them. The first one is something that I think is very important, and that is based on the psychological and the physiological level. We have to do trauma work. Okay, we just have to. We can't dismiss, we can't spiritually bypass. We have to do the trauma work so that we can refine each one of these chakras. And the second strategy is just to honor the Hindu teachings and traditions that we are to really build a relationship with these different energy centers by sitting with them and getting familiar with the really the way that they induce us into specific states, and the way that we can utilize this prana and charge it to such an extreme that we are diligent in our spiritual practice to move the energy through our body. Okay, so as we look at chakras being these discs that carry a specific frequency, we can see that each one plays a very important role in our uh, physiological, spiritual, psychic development. So let's go over these different chakras. I'm going to make this very simple. We have the root chakra. And if I tune into the root chakra right now, I remember that this is the experience of, first of all, kind of incarnating into this earth and developing a relationship with the mother. And if my mother wanted me, and this goes the same for you, at least this is based off some teaching that I've read about in the past. Embryology. I really believe in this. If your mother wants you and is excited to have you, then you can sense that in the womb. Like you are a part of her quite literally. So we're able to experience her nervous system charges throughout her life. Now, when we are in that womb space and we feel a sense of security, like we have food, shelter, water, we have all of our needs met, then we feel grounded. So the first chakra is the root, which is connected to grounding. Then we go up to the second chakra. And let me just say the first chakra color is red. Now we go up to that second chakra, and this is orange, and this is associated to our sensuality, our emotions, our creativity, our expression. And when we feel a sense of grounding within ourselves, we feel secure, then we feel emotionally fulfilled. So that means that we're able to express ourselves spontaneously as much as we want to. And really, when we look at libido is just energy. So having emotions, which is energy in motion, it just charges us. So we feel excited and alive and wanted, and we're confident in expressing and being creative and being ourselves. So this second chakra is connected to our creative center and our sensuality, and this is called the sacral. Now we're moving up to the third chakra. And again, remember, these are all our survival chakras. We have to feel secure. We have to feel emotionally, our needs are met. When we go to this third chakra, we are looking at the solar plexus. The solar plexus is yellow. And the way that this is experienced, the characteristics that are here, this is your self-esteem, your confidence. This is your ego developed because it has been, you have had your emotional needs met. You are able to express yourself as you want to. You have security. You are financially, capable and able to give back. So when you get to this solar plexus, there's an intense amount of connection to who you really are as an individual, and being able to express yourself as such and know that you won't be pushed away, know that you aren't in survival mode, you aren't trying to constantly get nourishment from the outside world. You don't have to go outside of your skin. In other words, you feel secure. When we look at these bottom three, this is the foundation of self. And this is also where our Kundalini is wrapped up. And our Kundalini is a sense of really awakening and opening up to these higher realms. Now, we can't move past these certain stages just by tuning into the chakras and then forcefully manipulating the energy centers. Yes, we can, but they've said in the books it's dangerous. It's dangerous to do so because then you will have a psychic break, and this is where a lot of, people go into potential psych wards. I'm not saying that this is like the only way that people can get into a psych ward, but I am saying that this is a potential way, and then people are treating people who are psychotic or not neurotic, I would say schizoids, um, they they are said to be, they're misunderstood, and it's because there isn't a psychological framework that has been updated, which we need to go off. So when we work with these energy centers, it's important not to force yourself into these different states. That's why I'm bringing this forward, that we have to work on it at a psychological level. Okay, we have to know exactly what these developmental stages are from the womb to 9 months, from 9 months until, I'll say, 2 years old, from 2 years old until, I'll say, seven, because that's a large part of development, but they all kind of intertwine together. So anywhere from in the womb until 7 years old, and then I'm going to extend it 7 more years just to be generous, because I find from working with clients that from 7 until 14, there's a huge traumatic experience that we all go through. Now, again, we're not trying to force the energies. We have to look at the developmental stages. And we only can see as far as our trauma allows us to see. Many people are just experiencing their everyday life just seeing through the lens of trauma. And what we have to do here is clear the trauma lens through doing the psychological and physiological work, so that we can really refine these different levels of self. Okay, so as you work with someone, I take clients, so look at my comments below if you're interested in working with the somatic unconscious, which is just the body and the shadow of the body. Um, as you continue to do this chakra work, you're wanting to focus on these bottom three levels constantly. It's not just a one-time deal, oh, everything is all good and dandy, now I can work on the higher ones. No, it's all the time. It's all the time. So you're working on the bottom three, and then we get up to the heart chakra, and this is really the filter or the tunnel through that gives you possibilities. Everything that you thought was impossible, the way that you put yourself down, the way that you feel like you can't build relationships, the way that you feel like you're financially unstable, your heart chakra, as you do that deep shadow work in the lower ones, and you start to filter them up through the heart chakra, you're cleansing and clearing, and you're holding a heavier amount of compassion. What you're doing is you are transitioning the lead-like material into something that is a little bit more gold and lighter. So the heart is this perfect point, which is going to allow us to go up to the crown chakra, which I'll get into in a moment. But your heart chakra is green. It has a certain frequency. It has a certain seed sound that is connected to it, and it just charges your entire system, and you truly feel a sense of, oh my gosh, everything and everyone is so connected, and I understand the heaviness of the world, and how can I be, more supportive and empathic to others and to myself? How do I not be so hard on myself? Like, it's a really beautiful chakra that gives us a sense of possibilities. So once we move on from that, we're going into the throat chakra. And as we are working with the throat chakra, this is connected to your communication. The way that you can communicate your needs, your desires, your thoughts. This center is really important, and it's also connected to your thyroid, which is quite interesting for women. Who knows? We have a past of being really repressed and oppressed. So a lot of women do work around their throat chakra, and they're trying to clear and cleanse this out so that they can speak with authority, but also not be too in their masculine to where they are dominating and they are destructive. Moving up from that throat chakra, which was a blue color, we're moving into the third eye, which is purple or violet, and this is about developing your intuition. Your intuition is first and foremost you can only see through the lens of your senses and of what your trauma was. So your intuition will be shortened or prolonged depending upon your lower chakras, but this is really a deeper insight. Okay, if we're pulling energy down and in, then you're pulling spiritual energy, through this third eye, and this is connected to your pineal gland and awakening to different senses more than anything. It's insight, but it's really dependent upon the sixth sense. Okay? So, moving up from there, we have our crown chakra, and this is the last chakra, which I am explaining to you. This is your crown chakra. And when this opens, this is the lotus flower that is opening from your very root, which was your seed. Your lotus flower is opening up at the top, and you're downloading all of these, astral like energies or spiritual energies. And when you're not connected to this, you feel like you're disconnected from your spirituality, from your spiritual body, from your spiritual practice. Um, and so this center is really the opening up and kind of the enlightened state of what the Hindu teachings talk about, where you get the ultimate sense of connection with divine, divinity, the Godhead, the God self, the creator, whatever you want to call. But there are certain teachings that say, okay, you bring information, you focus on the chakra system down and then you focus on the bottom half. But when you look at the psychological development, um, again, I just want to focus on not spiritually bypassing, because there's something within this ideology about subconscious reprogramming that if you just think about it enough, and if you just, create a new thought in your head, then you're just going to uh, have a different mindset about things, and then you can just be a spiritual guru that is all good and mighty. And I don't believe that to be true, like at all, because your body remembers trauma and your body stores everything. So your body remembers the heaviness and the weightiness of what your unconscious is. And your unconscious doesn't lie. Your unconscious stores everything that you've repressed over your lifetime and maybe lifetimes before. Who knows? Who's to say? However, we can't just habitually speak about saying, so what do they do? Let me get into this really quickly. It's like, and I'm not shaming anyone for doing this. I think this is how I started my spiritual journey. Ho'oponopono, where you continuously repeat the same thing over and over again, and you are supposed to reprogram your subconscious mind, and then everything is all good and dandy and life is great. That's not the case. That's not the truth. You can't do it. You have to get to a certain point psychologically where you've done enough of the trauma work where you can do subconscious reprogramming. I'm not saying that you can't do it. I'm saying that there has to be a certain time in your development that you do it. So, when we work with the chakra system, we have to work on the developmental level, and we have to look at the different stages of the way that you have developed, which is looking at your survival, which is your first chakra, looking at the way that you emotionally meet your needs and support yourself, right? How do you deal with your emotional distress? Your second chakra. Your third one, your ego. How do you allow your ego to build strong, but also be in a state of surrender so you can be fluid enough to go through the alchemical process of working with your shadows and of surrendering to the unconscious mind? And then we have to reorganize, restructure, rebuild these different psychological states. So we're working in, the womb, in adolescence, in the childhood experience, in your whole past. We're working with the way that you have developed. We're refining the psyche, and we're doing it through these different chakra centers. And as you do that, your chakras get stronger and they maintain a balance, or they find homeostasis just a little bit easier because you are, working with them. You're meeting these energies. And then you are working your way up and through. Once we do this, then we can bring in the Hindu teachings, or we can do it simultaneously. That's fun, right? We can do it simultaneously. You're bringing in these Hindu teachings which respect the charge of moving these energies through your body so that you can feel and experience the visual sensations of these different centers. And as you do this, again, you're building a very strong relationship with the different centers and how they move into and through your different nadis, channel systems. You can work with your feminine side, your masculine side. You can work with your main center, but it's It's really diligent work. So I just wanted to create this video because I really enjoy working with the chakras, but I did find that in the many years that I've done my spiritual development, you have to look at you have to do this work on a psychological level as well as a spiritual, a physical, a psychic. There are four different levels to this, and you have to go into each one and make sure that you're nurturing each one of these. You can't just spiritually bypass, and you also can't force yourself into different states without getting some kind of repercussion psychologically or physically. Okay, many mystics have talked about when they go into these certain explosive states after years of practice and work. When they go into these transpersonal states, they have their Kundalini awakened, which is the full enlightened state of that crown chakra opening. So each center has turned on and it opens. Now, they've talked about how they've had these drastic experiences where they've had to take months off to recollect the energies, kind of come back to their body because now they're in a whole new their third eye has opened and they're in a whole new perspective of life. So they're a little bit more recluse and more connected with nature. They're a little bit more introvert. Their group is very small. Like, it's a very different experience once you work with these energy centers, and we have to respect the energy body and the work that has to be done on the ground level first so that we can experience, kind of maturely and properly the development of our energy body. Okay, so I hope this video has supported you learning about the chakras. I will go in depth with each one of the chakras and create a series off this. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in my next video.